Hello, I'm Professor Neeta Mathur and I'll be talking about you. Yes, you, the audience. Let's discuss how important is audience when we are planning, when we are preparing, and when we are finally delivering our presentation. The focus on audience is very, very important, and if you remember, it is the first step in our preparation for the presentation. In the planning stage, we need to have a clear-cut idea on what is this audience we are going to deal with. And just on a lighter note, I have this particular cartoon snippet from Dilbert by Scott Adams. It clearly shows how important the audience is, right? So if I can carry you along the end of this particular video, that means I tried my best to keep you in mind when I was preparing this particular video for you. So you have to be very, very careful and respect the people who are there to listen to you. So please talk as per their expectation. Please present as per the expectation of the audience. You might be knowing so many things, but it is not necessary to share everything because time is important, number one. And secondly, what is it that they want to hear? You have to put across your idea in a way that they are accepting it because that is what they wanted to listen from you. So the first step becomes that you have to map your audience. Again, it is something which you plan before actually starting with your presentation. So what an audience is all about and what is it that the audience would want to hear. Let's say if you have a certain data or a topic which you need to present, divide it broadly into three categories. What is most important thing which you really need to share? What is the crux of the whole thing which you are wanting to share? And then so on, so forth, very important and important. Do not get into details which might not be directly linked with what you want to convey. And also you can take this particular pyramid in a different angle. For example, you have presentations to make for different subjects in your study, the course which you are taken up. So in that particular thing, it could be an online presentation or it could be a classroom presentation where all your class fellows and your faculty are present. Now in that particular scenario, what do you think you're going to talk about if your faculty is supposed to evaluate you as well? Definitely, I'm sure the most important thing which you would like to include in your presentation would something which would impress your faculty, something which you would want your faculty to give you higher grades, right? And not something that would entertain your class fellows. So what is more important in that particular presentation which you would like to cover? So this is one thing which you need to understand, that what kind of audience is there which you need to map before you prepare the content of this presentation. So when you're doing that, you have to take their level of interest. What would be they interested in? Details of something or just an overview of something? So how important or how interesting is that topic? You don't want them falling asleep, do you? Right? So you have to also gauge, or you have to kind of have a guess estimate that what kind of understanding would they have regarding that particular topic. And is there any specific thing which you need to take care of? Specifically, do not discuss something which is very sensitive. It could be anything. It could be regarding religion. It could be regarding certain philosophies, certain rules which are kind of not very clear-cut. So any biases which they might have, I've just given you a few very generic kind of example. So please try and play safe when you are discussing something or presenting something in front of an audience. You have to understand what is it that you want them to do, because you are the one who is presenting an idea. You are the one who is making the presentation. It could be for the simple reason that you want your presentation to be evaluated or graded by your faculty. So what do you think is going to make an impact to that particular faculty? What is he or she would be interested in to listen from you? Definitely, what is the clarity of the concepts which she or he has tried to explain or teach? So let's focus on certain concept when you are presenting on some theoretical topic. I'm just sharing an example to make things clearer. So you can have again that focus when you are presenting as per the audience, and also keeping thing that what is it that you want to get out of that particular presentation which you are making. Now once you have have that mapping in place, you need to understand their demographics as well. Age matters. I'll just share an incident. I had gone for this stand-up comedy show, and it was hosted by one of our clubs, and the club had a lot of members who were retired kind of people out there. So generally at that particular point in that particular meeting, they had a lot of senior citizens. A lot of them were 60 plus who were retired and who were having a good life, and they were used to come to clubs at regular intervals and stuff. So now these two stand-up comedians which were there, they were young people out there. And the first one came, and he's just started with his same kind of stories which he might have prepared regarding parents and cracking jokes at parents, which were not very taken very well by the senior citizens, because they were already senior citizens and they could not relate to the kind of jokes he was cracking. And this was very well taken up by the second comedian who came on stage. He customized all his punchlines, all his jokes as far as the audience was concerned. So in his jokes, where he could have simply talked about his parents, he started connecting with the audience and talked about their parents. You know, a parent-child relation is always there, whether you are a 60-year-old or a 6-year-old. So the comedian, that second person, was smart enough to connect with the audience, and he changed and customized his jokes or one-liners or punchlines as per the age of that particular audience, who were all senior citizens, mostly senior citizens. So that is what a good presenter is all about, that you have to customize your pitch by understanding the demographic of the audience which you are going to address. What is the education? What is the kind of background, the level of understanding which they bring when you are trying to explain? So there might be a technical gathering out there, and you start with very basics. They are going to get bored, and they are going to, of course, sleep during your presentation. And also you need to understand what are their current views about the subject. So whether they are aware about it, if they are not, you will have to go and take them into basics. What are their feelings? And basically main thing is what are their interest levels. If they are interested, they will be all ears. And if they are not, I'm sorry, it will be very difficult to engage your audience and to keep them interested till the end of your presentation. And the foremost thing which you keep in mind is the time. Time is very, very crucial and one of the very, very important soft skills, believe me. So this particular thing has to be, if the time allotted to you is 10 minutes, 10 minutes means that you should finish off your presentation by 8 minutes or 8.5 minutes, and rest 2 minutes should be dedicated to a question answer kind of session. Ask the people if they have any questions or any queries, and then thank them, and you could take some feedback. So that is the kind of norm one should follow, because the moment you overshoot time, it becomes difficult for the audience to retain interest. It is always better that you spend maximum 1.5 minutes per slide, and do not kind of make it heavier, or because again, having a single slide and you keep talking, people can lose interest, people can be disengaged. So take this time thing into consideration and stick to your time schedule given, because if you overshoot your time limit, the next person, if there is a series of presentation, can also get affected, and this can leave a bad impression and a bad taste in other people's mind as well. So be careful about the time. Do not fight the clock, or do not try and fit in everything, whatever you know in that particular thing. Try and focus on the most important topics, and you can leave out the things which were not important. If the time is kind of shooting up, you can drop certain things, because the audience does not know what you know. So try and understand what the audience needs to know. You might be a subject matter expert in something. You might be knowing so many details about something, but what was the topic which was to be discussed and presented is the most important thing you need to focus on. So in given time, What all can you cover, which is most important? Keep that focus always, so that the audience also is with you and is interested and is kind of comfortable that you are going to finish off in the allotted time. So do not try to get into that typical syndrome that you know everything and you need to share it off and you need to show it off to the audience that you know so much. Please do not try to download everything, whatever you know. Just focus on the most important aspect, and if you think that you have the time and the audience is interested, definitely if audience is interested, they would want you to go on, they might ask you questions. That is when you kind of show off, or that is when you can tell them that you know details, that you know the background, then you can share your knowledge. But otherwise, please do not overload the audience with something which is not related directly to your topic. So it is all about the audience. Try and keep your audience in mind when you are preparing your presentation, when you are delivering your presentation. It becomes of the crucial thing. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please do keep in mind your audience when you are preparing your own presentation. Happy learning, happy presenting. Thank you.